Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Here in just a bit, I'm about to hit the road and check out the new horror comedy, Renfield, starring Nicholas Hoult, Nicolas Cage, and Awkwafina. Renfield tells the story of, Renfield, Dracula's servant. And Renfield's job is to go around and gather up people for old Dracula to consume so that he can reach his ultimate power. Although Renfield is starting to feel a little used in this relationship that these two have, and so he starts to seek out some counseling and tries to figure out how he can get away from his boss, Dracula. Okay guys, as I've said before in the past, I am a big fan of, Dracula, but a big fan of vampire films in general. One of my all-time favorite movies is Near Dark. I love vampire movies. They're one of my favorite horror monsters, period. And Dracula has been one of the biggest baddies for a very long time, and he has been played by some absolute Hollywood legends. Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee, for some reason, those are the only two I can think of off the top of my head. And now Gary Oldman, there we go. And now Nicolas Cage. And also, too, something I want to add, the character Renfield, it's really cool seeing him as a younger guy played by Nicholas Hoult, but I wouldn't have minded to see old Tom Waits pick the part back up again, considering he played it back in the day in Bram Stoker's Dracula. But no, honestly, Nicholas Hoult looks just fine. So it's time for me to get out the door because I am wasting time and I gotta go check out the new movie, Renfield. Welcome back, just getting home, and you know what guys, I really enjoyed this movie. This movie was fun from beginning to end. I have some minor complaints, but other than that, this film was a lot of fun. Okay, let's get this started. So we're going to get things started with the negatives, and we're going to end things on a high note with the positives. The one and only negative I have on this film is that there's this secondary villain that they drag into the movie. Not that it's terrible, it kind of works, and it helps the story a little bit, but honestly, it really didn't need to be there. I feel like this film would have been 100% solid and great if the film would have just focused more on Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage and the relationship between Renfield and Dracula. But throwing in this other villain and a little bit of a subplot, it didn't really 100% work for me. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie. So on to the positives. Number one positive of this, back on Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage. The two of them together were great. And the funniest thing about this is they really, with the dialogue and the way they banter back and forth, they seriously seem like one of those couples that have been together for a way too long, like they're super toxic. You never want to invite them over for anything because you're just like, they're just gonna fight and make things awkward. And that was the kind of relationship that they had, and it worked. It made the film so much funnier. So the laughs also, that's another thing. The laughs are there. The comedy is definitely there. In fact, this is a horror comedy, but I feel like there's a lot more comedy in this film than there is horror. In fact, most of the horror of this film is driven through the gore. And that brings me to another thing. The gore in this film is outstanding. There is a really good blend of practical and CGI, but I do have to say, because I just got to throw this out there, I'm sorry guys, I just cannot get on board with the CGI blood splatter stuff. Sure, it looks neat because it can look all cartoony like an anime or something, but let's think back to Kill Bill. How cool was that? The blood splattering everywhere and squibs and real liquid shooting on people. I really wished that we had more of that in this film, but, you know, I understand the CGI was there probably to help pad things up a little bit, maybe make the stunts a little safer for the actors, blah, 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 so that's cool. Whatever the case may be, I just don't like it. It didn't look terrible. It looked just fine. The special effects were solid. The makeup job they did for Nicolas Cage was outstanding. We get to see Dracula in several different forms, and every one of them is great. And then we're going to get to the last thing I want to talk about, and that is Nicolas Cage. Holy crap. Well, as I said in the intro, there has been some very classic actors who have taken on the role of Dracula, and you know what, guys? It is time to add Nicolas Cage to the list because holy shit, he knocks it out of the park. The thing I love about Nicolas Cage, and this is not me saying this movie sucks, it doesn't matter how bad the movie is, Nick will always bring his A game. He don't care. Nick's there not just to cash a paycheck, he's there to entertain his fans, and he's gonna do it at all costs. And he puts himself on the line for this film. It is great. Him as Dracula made me want another one of these movies. So fingers crossed. Normally I wouldn't want a sequel, but I wanted so much more of this world. I want to see where this is going. If Dracula exists in this world, what about other, I don't know, Universal monsters that could be in this? Could this be a Universal Monsters? I don't know if this movie was made by Universal now that I think of it, so that could be a problem. But could this be something like that? You know, they tried that Universal Monsters world. Maybe make it more of a comedy. Maybe Frankenstein's monster is next. Wouldn't that be cool? Well, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for checking out the Film Geek. Oh, wait, I forgot my final judgment. I do that all the time. So here's the thing, guys. Honestly, completely, if you are a fan of the horror movie genre or horror comedy genre, definitely get out there, support this film, see it in theaters. If you're someone who likes a good comedy and is not bothered by tons and tons of gore, get out there and see this movie in theaters. This is a must-see in theaters. I thought it was a great time. I had a lot of fun with the people around me while we were watching the movie, so this is definitely an awesome theatrical experience. Okay, guys, now that really does bring me to the end of another Film Geek video. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.